Kelly bursts into the room, her frustration clear. Nadia, you're being lazy again. I try to rise, but my body refuses. The door slides open, and Kelly storms in, glaring. Why are you taking a break? Just because you're a daughter-in-law? Her words cut deep, and before I can react, she does something that shocks me. She grabs the cushion I'm sitting on and yanks it away. I lose my balance and crash onto the floor. Instinctively, my hands fly to protect my belly, but then it happens, a sharp pain. Kelly's foot connects with my stomach as I fall. Get up already. That belly is such a bother, she sneers. Maybe I should give you another kick. Helplessness grips me. But then, someone steps in, stopping her. They make Kelly sit down, scolding her for what she's done. I was saved because of them. I'm Nadia, 30 years old and pregnant. This pregnancy hasn't been easy. I've had my share of health problems. But the joy of carrying the baby of the man I love gives me the strength to keep going. Nadia, are you okay? Tell me if you're not feeling well, Tom asks, his voice soft and full of concern. Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks, I managed to say. We're on our way to tell my parents about the baby. Tom's driving, his eyes flicking over to check on me. I told him the big news after he came home from work. He was drained, but the moment I shared it, his face lit up. Boy or girl, all I want is a healthy baby, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I couldn't help but tear up too. Now though, I wonder if everyone we're about to tell will feel the same joy. You nervous? Tom asks, breaking the silence. A little, I admit. He smiles warmly and I try to mirror it. If it were my real parents we were telling, I might not feel this anxious. But here we are, and all I can do is hope for the best. It's not easy to explain, but I lost my mom when I was young. Since then, my dad has raised my brother and me on his own. I know it must have been hard for him, but he never showed it. I love him deeply for that. When my brother got married and moved out, I started worrying about leaving my dad alone when my turn came. Dad, I want us to live together, I told him after discussing it with Tom, but what he said next took me by surprise. You know, I've been thinking about remarrying. I was stunned. It turns out he'd been close to someone for a while, and before I knew it, I had a new mom in my life. When we arrived at my parents' house, she welcomed us with a polite, hello, welcome. Hi, Mom. It's been a while, I responded, though calling her mom still feels strange. She became part of the family after I moved out, so we haven't spent much time together. Unlike my dad, who's always easygoing, she's a bit more strict and difficult to bond with. But today was different. I had something important to say, and I didn't know how she'd react. Once we were all settled in the living room, my dad and his wife on one side, Tom and I on the other, I took a deep breath. I have some news to share, I said, trying to keep my nerves in check. Oh, what is it? My dad asked, curious but with a hint of concern. Well, it's still early, but I'm pregnant. For a moment, there was silence. Then my dad's face broke into a huge smile. Really? That's wonderful, he exclaimed, his joy unmistakable. His laughter filled the room, and it felt like everything was going to be okay. I'm going to be a grandpa, my dad announced with a big grin. Guess it's time for me to start feeling old. Tom joined in, just as excited. I can't wait to be a dad. I'm so over the moon. As they chatted cheerfully, I quietly observed my mom, waiting for her reaction. She didn't say much, her face giving little away. Just when I was beginning to wonder what she was thinking, she stood up and left the room. Should I go after her? I wasn't sure, but before I could decide, she came back holding a blanket and a cushion. Nadia, use this. It gets cold in here, she said, handing them over. Oh, thanks, I replied, a small sense of warmth bubbling up inside. It was nice to know she was concerned about me, even though her usual serious demeanor made her feel distant. A simple congratulations would have meant so much. It could have helped bridge the gap between us. I couldn't help but daydream about that possibility. We were planning to leave right after sharing the news, but my brother and his wife, Kelly, showed up unexpectedly, so we decided to stay a bit longer. Tom and I live an hour's drive from my parents, while my brother and Kelly are only 5 minutes away. They often stop by on days like this. It seemed like a good opportunity to share the news with them as well. No way, you beat me to it, my brother joked, pretending to pout. Kelly playfully tapped him on the head. What are you saying? First of all, congrats. Congratulations, Nadia. Thanks, I said with a smile. Kelly's a lot like my mom, kind-hearted but a little intimidating with her bluntness. I'm honestly a bit jealous, she admitted. We've been trying with no success, just getting older over here. At this rate, we'll be old before we have kids. She chuckled, but there was a hint of frustration beneath her words. I'm only 2 years younger than you. Thanks for trying to lift my spirits, I said, unsure how to respond. Kelly often made these self-deprecating remarks, and it was always difficult to find the right thing to say. Well, we should probably get going, Tom said, sensing it was time to leave. Yeah, let's head out. As we gathered our things, my parents and my brother's family walked us to the door. I felt a little lightheaded. Whether from the pregnancy or the day's events, I wasn't sure, but I smiled, grateful for the moment, even if it wasn't exactly as I had imagined. I had to be cautious not to lose my balance, holding tightly onto the handrail for support. Suddenly, I felt a hard shove against my right shoulder from behind. Ouch! I nearly toppled over but managed to steady myself, clinging to the handrail. Nadia, I'm so sorry. I tripped and accidentally knocked into you. Are you all right? Kelly's voice came from behind. Yeah, I'm okay, I responded, though I couldn't shake the confusion. Kelly said she tripped, but we were just walking down a straightforward hallway. Could that really cause her to bump into me? Normally, if you're about to fall, wouldn't you reach for the handrail or someone near you for balance? Why would she crash into me, knowing I was pregnant? A strange feeling of unease crept over me. Sorry, you don't think I did it on purpose, right? Kelly quickly added, her voice a bit defensive. I didn't mean to do it, honestly. I forced a reassuring smile. It's fine, no harm done. I didn't want to accuse her of anything without solid proof, so I let it slide. Maybe it really was just an accident. With that, we left my parents' place without saying much more. Later, when we got home, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Maybe I was overreacting because of the pregnancy hormones. Kelly and I had always gotten along fairly well. Sure, there were aspects of her personality that could be difficult, but we never had any major problems. I tried convincing myself that any ill intent I felt was just in my head. But things started to get strange after that incident, and my unease around Kelly only grew with each odd occurrence. The first strange thing was about some of my personal items left at my parents' house. They somehow ended up in the trash. My mom called me about it. I found some clothes in the garbage that looked like yours, she told me. I pulled them out. What would you like me to do with them? Could you leave them for me? I'll check when I come over, I replied. When Tom and I went to take a look, sure enough, they were my belongings. Both my parents swore they hadn't thrown anything out, and they assured me they would never discard my things without asking first. So, who had done it? It was right before garbage day, too. Kelly stopped by for a visit, and strangely, she was alone. My heart raced as memories of past incidents flashed through my mind. I caught my mom glancing at me, sensing my unease. After a pause, she spoke softly. Maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but it's not right to suspect someone without solid proof. Still, you might want to ask, what will you do? I hesitated. It bothered me, but I didn't want to create unnecessary drama. It's fine, I said, trying to convince myself. She probably just wanted to stop by for a bit. Things stayed peaceful, and thankfully my pregnancy was going well. The baby was healthy, and before I knew it, I was 8 months along. By this point, I was feeling more stable, and my health had improved. I hadn't seen Kelly in a while, and there hadn't been any more issues. One day, my dad invited us over. Why don't you and Tom come by on your next day off? He suggested, picking a day when there was a big festival happening near my parents' home. Every year, the whole family gathers for this event, and it's always a lively occasion. When I told everyone about your pregnancy, they were thrilled, he said. They'd love to see you. But of course, don't push yourself if you're not feeling up to it. Standing for long periods had become tough with my growing belly, but otherwise I felt good. I think we'll go, I told Tom. That's great. Everyone will be really excited to see you, he said with a smile. When we got to my parents' house, I was met with warm greetings from everyone. Hey Nadia, congratulations. Wow, look at you. Your baby's going to be so strong and healthy, relatives said one after another. I hadn't seen some of them in ages, but their kindness made me feel so happy. I found myself moving around more than I should have. Nadia, are you overdoing it? Is your belly feeling tight? My mom asked, noticing before I even realized. Yeah, I think it's getting a bit tight, I admitted, suddenly aware of the discomfort. Be careful. You're going to be this baby's mother, she said, taking my hand and guiding me to a quieter room. There was a mattress laid out. Rest here for a while, she said. Thanks, I replied, lying down. I could still hear the chatter and laughter from the other room, but as I relaxed, I realized I was more exhausted than I thought. My eyelids grew heavy, and I started to drift off. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I felt a soft tap on my head. Huh? I muttered, blinking my eyes open, feeling disoriented. Kelly stood there with a stern expression. Hey, what are you doing in here? Everyone's here to see you, Nadia, not for you to hide away. It's kind of selfish to be sleeping when people came all this way. Get up. Before I could respond, Kelly grabbed my arm and dragged me back out to the gathering. As soon as I stepped into the room, I was surrounded by family members. Oh, Nadia, where were you? They asked, their faces full of curiosity. I couldn't exactly tell them I needed to rest, so I forced a smile and joined the conversation. But as I moved around, the familiar tightening in my belly returned. I knew I wasn't supposed to be pushing myself like this. I tried to excuse myself a few times, but each time Kelly blocked me. Seriously, you're always trying to be by yourself. Do you dislike everyone that much? She said, her tone sharp. Trapped by her words, I stayed as long as I could, forcing myself to endure the discomfort. When Kelly finally left to use the bathroom, I seized the moment and slipped away to another room. I desperately wanted to lie down, but I couldn't shake the fear that Kelly might come back and find me. Feeling unsteady, I settled on a cushion from the other room and let out a quiet sigh. All I really wanted was to lie down and rest, but I knew I couldn't risk Kelly catching me. She had been subtly criticizing me all day, and it was beginning to feel like a battle zone. There wasn't a moment of peace. Stay strong, I told myself, but no matter how much I tried, the tightening in my belly continued. It wasn't exactly painful, but the hardness worried me. I was only 8 months pregnant, too soon for labor. I didn't want to put any extra strain on the baby, but if I rested, I feared what Kelly might say. As I sat there, holding my belly and trying to figure out what to do, Kelly's voice cut through my thoughts. Nadia, slacking off again? She snapped. My heart sank. It was Kelly. I tried to stand, but my body wouldn't cooperate. The sound of the sliding door opening made me freeze. Kelly marched in, her voice dripping with anger. Why are you resting? Just because you're the daughter-in-law? She hissed, storming toward me. In this house, I had always felt like a daughter, not just a daughter-in-law. At least that's what I believed. But what happened next shattered that illusion. Kelly grabbed the cushion I was sitting on and yanked it away. Huh? I gasped as I fell back onto the mat. Instinctively, I covered my stomach with my hands, but then I felt the force of her foot. Kelly had kicked towards my belly. Thankfully, my hands took most of the impact, but the weight of her foot pressing against me made my heart race. Get up, she ordered coldly. Already struggling with that annoying belly? Need me to make it worse? Kelly said, her tone harsh, as if she didn't care anymore. I knew I had to get up quickly, but the weight of my belly and the shock slowed me down. You're too slow, Kelly sneered, and as I tried to get on all fours, she raised her foot again. Stop, I couldn't react fast enough. I curled up, bracing myself for the impact, but before anything could happen, a loud, commanding voice cut through the tension. Stop. My mother's voice filled the room with authority. I turned my head toward the sound and saw her standing in the doorway, her expression fierce. Don't move, understand? She commanded, rushing over and crouching beside me. Mom, my belly's fine. I didn't hit my head. I'm okay, I assured her, though she was clearly worried. Are you sure? Any pain? She asked, her brow furrowed with concern. I'm okay, just scraped my leg a little. Nothing serious. Let me see, she said, inspecting my right leg. The scrape wasn't too bad, just raw from the fall. I hadn't been able to protect myself properly because I was shielding my belly, but thankfully the baby was fine. My mom's frown deepened as she looked at my red knee. It looks sore. We need to clean it. It's really not a big deal. I tried to brush it off, but my mom wasn't having it. Don't downplay it. Your body matters, she said firmly, then turned to Kelly with a sharp glare. Kelly, Sit down over there. Kelly paled and stammered, "It's not what you think. I was just trying to. Just sit down." My mom cut her off, her voice strong and unwavering. Kelly hesitated, then sat down, looking pale. The room grew tense, the air thick with the weight of what had just happened. My mom took a deep breath before continuing, her voice even louder this time. "This is absolutely ridiculous." Startled, Kelly flinched. "Do you understand what you've done?" my mom pressed. "It's not like that," Kelly protested, trying to sound innocent. "I was just fixing the cushion and Nadia fell over. Right, Nadia? I was only fixing it." I took a moment before replying. "That's not true, Kelly. You clearly pulled it out from under me. Who needs to fix a cushion like that?" "I was sitting on the cushion." Her excuse didn't make sense, and it wasn't necessary. "Exactly," Kelly said, nodding vigorously. "I didn't expect Nadia to fall like that. It really surprised me." There wasn't a hint of guilt or concern on her face. It was as if she believed she had done nothing wrong. In fact, it felt like she was blaming me for being clumsy. I could almost hear her thoughts. She was trying to get away with it. But deep down, I knew she had done it on purpose. At that moment, I felt terrified, not just for myself, but for the baby inside me. The thought of what could have happened if I hadn't shielded my belly sent a shiver down my spine. If Kelly had kicked me directly, it could have been catastrophic. I wanted to confront her, but the words wouldn't come. I was too shaken. Seeing my hesitation, Kelly smirked. "It seems Nadia has nothing more to say, so let's drop it. We're running low on drinks anyway, and I should go check on everyone," she said, standing up quickly, using her earlier smugness as an excuse to leave. My mom remained silent, watching her. I couldn't believe she was about to get away with it. I knew I had to speak up. After everything that had just happened, after she had risked my baby's safety, I couldn't stay silent. In my panic, I finally blurted out, "You kicked me." Kelly turned back, startled. "What are you talking about, Nadia?" "You kicked me," I repeated, my voice steadying. "Whether pulling the cushion was an accident or not, you aimed for my belly." Kelly started walking towards me, flustered. "Stay calm. There must be a misunderstanding." "I am calm," I replied firmly. "It's not a misunderstanding. You definitely kicked me. If Mom hadn't stopped you, you would have done it again." "I would never do that," Kelly shouted, reaching out as if to cover my mouth, but I stumbled back. Mom quickly caught me, her sharp gaze fixed on Kelly. "Calm down," Mom said, her voice quiet but commanding. Kelly froze under her stare, looking like she had been drained of her confidence. Reluctantly, she stepped back and sat down. "I've been listening quietly to both sides," my mom said, her tone even. "But I never expected things to come to this." "Please believe me," Kelly pleaded, tears suddenly welling up in her eyes. "Nadia must be overly sensitive because of her pregnancy. She's imagining things." Kelly knew exactly how to twist the situation. She was skilled with her words, and now she was playing the emotional card. I, on the other hand, was struggling to defend myself. I had no physical proof, and whenever I got emotional, it became even harder to find my voice. Would I just lose to Kelly's manipulative accusations? Would I end up crying myself to sleep again, letting her get away with it? Is this what my life was going to become? Tears filled my eyes as I looked down, but then I felt a strong movement in my belly, like the baby inside was giving me a push, urging me not to give up. Right, I'm going to be a mother. I can't let someone like her have her way. I wiped away my tears, finding the strength to stand up for myself. I stood tall, facing forward. "I may be extra careful for the sake of my baby, but this isn't just in my head, Kelly. You kicked my belly." Kelly's eyes widened in disbelief, but I didn't let her reaction stop me. "And it's not just about today. You've been unfair to me before, throwing away my clothes, bumping into me, and today not even letting me rest. It was awful. If you're calling all of that my imagination, then you have no shame." I took a deep breath after speaking. Kelly glared at me, her face turning red with anger. "Do you even realize what you're accusing me of?" she snapped. "Do you think raising your voice is going to shut me up?" "That might have worked before, but not anymore," I replied, my hand gently resting on my belly. "For my child's sake, I won't let myself be bullied by someone who thinks they can win by being louder. I won't let you get the better of me." Kelly's nostrils flared, her frustration rising. "What did you just say?" she growled, on the verge of losing it. But this time I wasn't scared. I wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. I stood my ground, ready for whatever was coming next. But then something unexpected happened. Mom burst into laughter. Both Kelly and I froze, startled by her reaction. After a moment, Mom took a deep breath and regained her composure. As they say, even a cornered mouse will fight back, she murmured, then looked back and forth between Kelly and me. Kelly, do you have anything more to say? Kelly, now flustered, snapped back, you can't seriously believe what she's saying. It's all made up. Mom kept her calm. Is that so? She replied. But Kelly, I trust what I see with my own eyes. Then Mom repeated Kelly's own words from earlier. You were just resting because you're a daughter-in-law, right? I blinked in shock. How did Mom know about that? I was stunned into silence. I saw everything from the very beginning, Mom explained. I was so shocked that I couldn't even move. Nadia, I'm sorry for frightening you. It's not your fault, I quickly reassured her, waving my hands. Mom had seen it all, every part of it. Kelly had been lying to her face the entire time. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Kelly's face went pale as the reality of what had happened hit her. I've been worried about how Kelly's been treating you for a while now, Nadia, Mom said. But without evidence and given my age, I didn't feel it was right to step in. I didn't expect it to go this far. Even Kelly was speechless at this point. I thought I might need to intervene, Mom continued, but Nadia, you handled it so well. That's what being a mother looks like. You were amazing, just like a daughter of my own. Seeing her warm smile, I finally felt the tension leave my body. Tears welled up, and I collapsed into her comforting embrace. Afterward, Tom, my brother, and Dad were called in for an urgent family discussion. Once everyone heard the truth, we decided it was best to cut ties with Kelly. Mom would manage our visits to make sure I wouldn't run into her again. When my brother learned what had been going on, he turned pale and apologized to Tom and me repeatedly. It turned out Kelly had been acting out of jealousy, frustrated that I was pregnant while she couldn't conceive. Though I couldn't forgive her, I did feel some sympathy. Later, I gave birth safely. Tom was overwhelmed with joy and stayed by my side in the hospital every day. He quickly got the hang of taking care of things, except for breastfeeding, of course. Though the journey was tough, I knew the real challenges of parenthood were just beginning. After the incident, my relationship with Mom deepened. I felt the love and support of everyone around me, and with their help, I'm ready to raise our baby well.